So what about Quicktime Events? Yeah, they kinda stink. I'm honest here, I don't know why video games still have this feature. And that's why I was baffled when I saw the gameplay reveal of the upcoming Spiderman game. Like, why is this? Did this become some sort of tradition or something? Quicktime events alone are already annoying, but why are especially Spiderman games plagued with this stuff? But let's pull back from Spiderman games for a second and take a look at QTEs in general. I will try to look at the pros and cons of them, but this video will be mostly about why I think that they are annoying. I'm just really not a fan of them. Now, what is even the point of a Quicktime event? Trying to combine gameplay with cutscene and give the player a little bit of a challenge. I guess. But honestly, that's where the problems already start. I think Quicktime events ultimately separate gameplay and cutscene to the point where you can't focus on neither of them. Instead of supporting immersion by letting the players be part of the scene, they destroy it by distracting them. Also, some games have cutscenes where Quicktime events occur and some cutscenes where they don't. Basically, the player isn't always prepared and misses a button push because he was watching a cutscene and not expecting to play at this moment. Depending on the game, cutscenes are sections where the story takes over and the player can relax and enjoy the cinematic as well as the process he made. At the same time, it isn't even fun from a gameplay point of view. It really is nothing more than pressing a button at the right time and has nothing to do with the core mechanics of the actual game. But I think what annoys most people is that when you screw up a QTE, that you not only have to do the whole thing again, but you also have to rewatch a part of the cutscene, or in worst case scenarios even the whole cutscene. This breaks the game flow, is frustrating, and most importantly, it is boring. And of course predictable. And even if you don't want to tell a great story, but just show an awesome action-packed dope cutscene, this is not what you want your players to experience. Now, that being said, even though they're still different from the actual core gameplay, I do think that QTEs can work outside of cutscenes. Still not fun in my opinion, but they work. For example, if you have to lift a heavy door and have to press some button very fast. I think it kinda simulates the struggle the player's character goes through. Again, I could live without them, but I do think that they are acceptable when done correctly and not overdone. It allows our heroes to do awesome sidekicks and attacks which wouldn't be able with the normal gameplay. But I still think that the cons do overweight this fact. Also, I want to fight on my own, man. I don't care if the character does a cool backflip with the push of a button. I'd rather do them myself, even if the camera angle and scenery isn't as pretty. Speaking of doing it wrong, I don't understand why so many Spider-Man games use Quicktime events. The only positive example I can remember is from Spiderman Web of Shadows, where you fight Wolverine and have to answer questions. But only because at this point, it's honestly more of a dialogue wheel, really. Also, no casual gamer can answer these stupid questions without googling them first, what the f. But most of the time it's just dumb and boring action sequences. I don't even need QTEs for some of this. I can punch that robot's face with the normal controls. What's the point of this? It would actually be more fun and challenging also. It's honestly just so that the developers can have their cool camera angles and shots, and yeah, you can have it, but do it with normal cutscenes and let the players do what they want outside of them. That's the fun of video games. We have this three-dimensional playground to move around how we want without fixed angles and paths. You know which Spider-Man game didn't have QTEs? Spiderman 2 for the PlayStation 2, and it's one of the most beloved. Well, not specifically because of this, but it's a great factor that makes this game stand out, in my opinion. Spoiler alert! Even the silly little dumb Mysterio gag boss fight in the Speedy Mart didn't use QTEs. You can run around, do nothing, or attack Mysterio however you like. That's not much, but I appreciate that the player stays in control of the scene.
You rock so hard, Spidey!
I really hope the new Spider-Man will pull back with QTEs and can create awesome challenges without this button game. We can play as Spider-Man, dude, let us use his abilities. To sum up, yeah, I understand the reasons behind Quicktime events. They look cool and the developers are trying to bond the character with the player. But honestly, I think it's not worth it. Even outside of cutscenes, we can do most of the stuff with the normal controls. Yeah, it doesn't look as pretty, but don't take the control away from the player just so it can look a bit cooler. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you like Quicktime events? If so, I'd love to hear why. And thanks for watching, guys.